We're doing Pokedex reviews. Oh, you're stealing my content, you son of a... Hey, watch it. You're going to be helping me anyway. Jeez, sensitive much. Anyway, recently I've been doing this thing called Faketober. It's an event where a bunch of artists do Fakemon for October, of course. It's all been hosted by this person right here. And I decided to join because after the whole Jamaican region thing, I've been going through kind of a burnout kind of thing, or art block, and I didn't know what to draw. So that's what I did this. Anyway, let's go. Gluttion, the glutton Pokemon. This Pokemon is very greedy, always looking for candy or anything that has sugar. Its tongue is very sticky, letting it swing around. Possessiworm, the possession Pokemon. It has possessed an abandoned doll as it's on the hunt for a real host to possess. However, the doll seems to be more alive than it lets on. Baynet seems to fear the worm. Golem, the slime golem Pokemon. This Pokemon is very friendly during the night or in cool environments, but during the day it will start to turn into complete stone if left in the sun, so it will fight for shade. Some are protectors of ancient caves or tombs in exchange for its shelter. Luxor, the jewel bug Pokemon. This Pokemon is very heavily sought after because of the jewels that it's born with. To avoid being caught, it will flash the light at people using its eyes. UB Festival, or otherwise known as Jumdraff, is the anti-hero Pokemon. This Pokemon is very unpredictable as it will destroy and enter homes, but also protect people. It uses its height to look for danger, scaring dangerous people and Pokemon away. Despite this, they are a lot friendlier during festivals, making everyone happy. Appeloct, the trick apple Pokemon. This Pokemon uses its appearance to confuse prey as it pretends to be fruit to catch prey, though it is very gullible and will trust mostly anything. When it walks, it spreads seeds. Applekin, the leader Pokemon. This Pokemon is a cruel but fair leader, using sneaky tactics to take over territories and get food. It constantly has to move to bigger territories because of its army of Appelocks. Puffinova, the big star Pokemon. This Pokemon is very aggressive with anything, sparking up when angered, blowing up in a colourful manner. However, this Pokemon is very hot and is believed to come from space. Entoroon, the wiggly Pokemon. This Pokemon is very friendly as it looks for sad people or Pokemon and then wiggles its long body, which usually makes people happy, giving energy to Entoroon. Fakefet, the calculation Pokemon. This Pokemon has a similar behavior to Wobbuffet, but instead of enduring damage, it will calculate the best way to dodge opponents. If in a pinch, they will flash light from their screen-like faces. Iron Prank, the Paradox Pokemon. This object is described to be made for the purpose of pulling pranks by giving false illusions and jump scares.
Conocrow, the crow Pokemon. This Pokemon is very mischievous as it likes to keep bug types in its beak. It won't eat the Pokemon, just hold them. The bug type that stays will be viewed as brave. Carnivus, the confident Pokemon. This Pokemon finds Pokemon to use its hammer on them to test how strong it is. If the hammer runs away, however, Carnivus will scream as if calling it a coward. Finally, Conco Slam, the proud Pokemon. This Pokemon is proud of its hammer, being able to swing it with ease. The hammer is a brave Pokemon and will not run away from anyone. With this evolution, it has a new ability. Cowards cry. If the opponent switches out, the next time they switch back in, their stats will fall. Okibait, the fish bait Pokemon. This Pokemon swims away from everything. However, when fish Pokemon try to eat it, its hook-like exoskeleton keeps it on the tongue of the Pokemon, letting it eat the food of whatever the fish Pokemon eats. Hook, the fish hook Pokemon. This Pokemon is very aggressive when it comes to ocean Pokemon, using his red body to attract prey. then spearing them with its hook-like fin. On land, they will attack anything on sight. Ampio, the repeating Pokemon. This Pokemon is very passive, but if aggravated, it will wait for the opponent to make a sound, then counterattack with the same sound but louder and stronger depending on the attacker. Because of this, it's better to be quiet around Ampio.
Didgeridoo, the odd Pokemon. This Pokemon is very strange as its shape doesn't help it in survival at all, yet it still survives. Scientists research till this day. The baby seems to have a fascination with computers.
Igatoad, the mistaken Pokemon. This Pokemon was a mystery for a while, believed to be a human Politoad hybrid, but was later to be discovered to just be Igatoad. Icetol, the icing Pokemon. This Pokemon usually is never attacked because of the ice it forms, as it's sweet like sugar. When it's attacked, it will retreat into its shell and shoot ice in all directions. Its new ability, Icy Treat, lets ice moves heal allies. Barblet, the Barb Spike Pokemon. Barblet is a very defensive Pokemon, as its spikes not only hurt but cause illness. The rust underneath Barblet's eyes is actually just dried tears. Barbdawn, the Barb Spikes Pokemon. This Pokemon is very protective of its young, curling around its nest. Its spikes are very toxic. Never touch Barbdawn's rust under its eye, as it's so toxic that it's lethal. And Cogni, the cog worker Pokemon. This Pokemon is very hardworking, turning scraps of metal into cogs, using its hot steam that they produce. And Cogni colonies can be so big that they cause steam clouds to form on top of their colonies. Fungi Sluggy, the Spore Pokemon. This Pokemon is very odd, as the body doesn't seem to be alive. The body protects the mushroom, flinging spores on opponents. When you have spores, wash it off quickly, as Fungi Sluggy can control you to protect it. Halloweenian Surskit. This form of Surskit hates water and prefers ice ponds and cold places. If there is a body of water, it will start to freeze the water. This has caused many accidents. Gobspeed, the speedy Pokemon. This Pokemon is never late, always showing up in time for anything, running at lightning speeds. If Gobspeed is late for something, it will throw tantrums, sparking the area. Gobblight, the Flash Pokemon. This Pokemon is very dangerous as it's so fast that it sets off flashes of light, blinding people. It hates standing still unless if it's sleeping, so people that have Gobblight usually set up treadmills. Tenat, the Bounce Pokemon. This Pokemon is very bouncy but very annoying, as when they bounce, they make a lot of noise. If Tenat bounces on you, they most likely have bitten you for your blood. Pepkin, the Pebble Pokemon. This Pokemon is basically blind, relying on its own smell and touch, even able to sense vibrations in the ground. However, something powerful is brewing inside. Puffking, the shiny bird Pokemon. This Pokemon is very pretty as its shiny stone feathers glisten in the sun. It's also so powerful that it can destroy boulders. To protect their young, they will encase their young with molten stone, protecting them. Masquerain, regional form. This Pokemon is very aggressive, but not by physical means. Masquerain will use its red, false eyes to mentally disturb anyone that enters its territory. If you see a pond of ice in an unusual place, please avoid it. Fury Mask, the territorial Pokemon. Fury Mask is a very territorial Pokemon, as if you're not a part of its swarm, it will not only intimidate you aggressively, but also start attacking you with their sharp wings, even attacking others of its kind. It's a merciless Pokemon. Envilily, the pompous Pokemon. This Pokemon is very overconfident, thinking it's better than anything else. It will only go into clean ponds and lakes and steal things that it doesn't have. New ability, Gimme. Every contact move steals an item. Magtoist, the magnet Pokemon. This Pokemon is very slow because of its magnetic power sticking it on the ground, making movement difficult. However, its electricity has formed a separate entity
giving it the power to sometimes go fast, hovering above the ground like it's on skates. Mercurance, the Mercury Pokemon. Mercurance is kind of lazy, however when it is made to battle, it usually messes with opponents rather than fighting. Rului, the Bully Pokemon. This Pokemon is a big bully, harassing people and Pokemon to do things for it, usually using them for entertainment or to find food. They never get along with other Rului. Gesturine, the Silly Pokemon. Gesturine loves messing with people and Pokemon, always joking around using its stretchy legs to emphasize their actions. They always get along with other Gesturies and Ruluries. Infectcargo, the Grim Fate Pokemon. This Pokemon used to be a bug type, however a fungus has spread to only infect this Pokemon, changing its genetic makeup. The Pokemon is not dead, but has become blind because of its infection, so it uses its tail-like whiskers to sense its surroundings. G-Max Isotle. Its Gigantamax power has caused its frosting to erupt with power, almost like fire. However, it's frigid cold, so best not to touch it. And that's about it. That is all the Pokemon that I have drawn throughout October for Faketober. Thank you again for the lovely artists that let me borrow their Fakemon for the start of the video. And yeah, that's about it. Like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, bye.